Everyone, and welcome to Etcetera with the Woodards. I'm your host for this evening, Craig Woodard Sr., and welcome to episode 57. We are moving right along here and got a pretty decent night for you tonight. Deontay is out bowling right now. He might join us towards the end of the show, but I might also have another special guest here pretty soon. So we'll have to wait and see if that special guest does come on board. Get this taken care of here. All right, I got that all right there. All right, welcome everyone. It's been a week since we've talked last. I could say it's been a year. Last year we talked. 2025. This is the first show in 2026. And it is a pleasure to be here with you all. A lot of different things I wanted to cover today. First of all, I wanted to talk about the Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay. We are going to be celebrating our 8th anniversary on February 23rd. That's coming up pretty soon. We're in our 5th year of our 321 art class, and the first art class of the year takes place tomorrow, which is Sunday. It's going to be from 6 to 7 p.m. at Center Place in Brandon. We're going to have free speech therapy, free occupational therapy. It's going to be a blast. Mercedes Anderson runs our art class. She is our art instructor, and she has done so for the last couple of years. She does a fantastic job, and she usually creates a lot of the art projects surrounding whether it's the holiday season with us just coming out of Christmas. We've done some Christmas things, but maybe there's going to be something that is New Year centered. So it's really nice to see these kids and individuals express themselves artistically. Those who have been in the program for a couple of years now, you really get to see them express themselves artistically and improve. It's art therapy. It's really cool to see. They take pride in it. They are, trying to stay in the lines. They do a lot of painting, and it's a blast. It really is a blast. We have done so well with our success of our art class, which is funded by a grant provided by the Arts Council for Hillsborough County. We've had to expand, and we have opened up a second class, which is our 321 art class in Pinellas County. That is held at Park Street Baptist Church. Their next class will be on Sunday, January 11th at 2 p.m. It's from 2 to 3 p.m. They also have free speech therapy. They have free occupational therapy over there. You don't need to call to sign up. You just show up. It's at Park Street Baptist Church. You can sign in when you get there. We have an inclusive vibe. We want siblings to come, but we welcome everybody. It is designed for those blessed with Down syndrome and special needs. So, if you're in the area, please come on out, man. We do this for a lot of great reasons, man, and these families love coming out and supporting and bringing their kids. And we have, and I say kids, but we have some young adults that come. I believe our oldest student is 57, I believe. It's fantastic. So just to recap again, Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay's 321 art class here in Hillsborough County. Our first one of 2026 will be tomorrow on Monday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. where we have free speech therapy and free occupational therapy, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Center Place in Brandon. And the first one for 2026, 321 Pinellas County, will be on January 11th from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And they will have the same thing out there as well with the therapies. Come on out, have some fun. Bring your child out there. No need to sign up. You can just come and have some fun along with us. We would appreciate it. Okay, moving on. We have a couple other things coming up here. I just wanted to kind of go over. Pretty soon, we're going to start to I'll send out the website. I got to get with Drew Garabo, our vice president, who works at 102.5 The Bone. But we are going to be hosting our Down to Bowl 5, which is one of our largest fundraisers that we do have for the Down Syndrome Association in Tampa Bay. Um, it's a bowling event that is absolutely fantastic. Um, we give out a big trophy. Started that last year. Brian Kelly, who is one of our the salespeople, he was the general manager. And look who I got here. Hey, what's up, bud? Hey, this is my man. How you doing? You doing good? Can you say hi to the people for me? Look at the camera right here. See the green dot right here? Can you say hi? Craig Jr. crashing the show. Yeah, so unfortunately, Brian Kelly passed away a couple years ago. He was one of the main people that organized the Down the Bowl, and he was instrumental in putting this thing together. And so, with him no longer being there, this was the time that I used to love because I used to get to communicate with him and actually at the event as well a lot. But we have the Brian Kelly Down the Bowl Championship Trophy that we give out, and it's like 5 feet. It's a real big trophy we hand out to the winner, and his fiance gives it out for us. She hands it out, and she's a part of that as well. So I am looking forward to that. That's going to be probably in the first week of March, but we will let you know once we get ticket sales available. The lanes will be sold out, and we can't wait. It is a lot of fun there. So that's coming up first week in March. I'll let you guys know about that. All right, wanted to talk a little bit of football here. NFL playoffs. We're gearing up for wild card weekend for next week, and then we're wrapping up week 18 today. We got another game that's coming on. We have a condensed Etcetera with the Woodards tonight because the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing tonight at 8:20. So just to kind of recap to let you know who all is in the playoffs so far on the AFC side, we have the Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Denver, the Buffalo Bills, the Patriots, and the Chargers on the AFC side. NFC, we have the Seahawks, the Bears, the Eagles, of course, the Panthers, the 49ers, the Rams are playing really well, and the Packers. And the last seed that we're looking for to try to wrap this thing up for week 18 in the AFC is the Steelers versus the Ravens. So the way this works, this game is in Pittsburgh, starts tonight at 8:20. The Steelers sit at 9-7, I believe, right now, and the Ravens sit at 8-8. If the Ravens win, they will both be tied at 9-8, and the Ravens win the tiebreaker. The Ravens would also win the AFC North Championship and the last spot in the playoffs. So the brawl for it all. It's going to be a huge game tonight. I don't know what to expect. I do know that Lamar Jackson is back in the lineup. I do know that TJ Watt is back in the lineup. That is going to be huge and exciting for Steelers fans. On the downside of things, two key starters that will not be playing. DK Metcalf is still out serving his second 2-game suspension from punching a fan in Detroit. That's a huge loss for us, and it showed last week against the Cleveland Browns. Our passing game just was not the same without the threat of DK Metcalf. What a big receiver, fast receiver he is. So hopefully this past week, we put some things together down in Pittsburgh, and our passing game is back. Also, big 6'7", 350-pound tight end Darnell Washington is out for the season as well. He broke his wrist What a big loss. He's had some pretty good games, and we've utilized him in a special way. And it's going to be very, very tough to replace a guy like that, and also DK Metcalf. However, what I think needs to happen, I think they need to utilize Ryan Gainwell a lot. Ryan Gainwell leads the team in receptions, and man, I'm gonna tell you what, he's got great hands. Mike Tomlin says he has the best hands on the team. He's made some phenomenal plays, some phenomenal catches this year. We have Felker. Is it Felker? Felker, the veteran wide receiver, is back. Um, he played well against the Browns last week, and the week before that, he played very well on receiving the ball as well. Big key first downs that he took part in. So hopefully he can get involved. But we need to get the ball rolling. This is the good thing. We have one of the smartest quarterbacks in NFL history, and that is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is one of the smartest ones out there. Um, we're in Pittsburgh. This is why we brought this guy in, signed him up. Um, this is why you play the game. This is why you play the game. So the Steelers are going to have to sweep the Ravens this year. Going to be very tough to do. I don't know if it's possible. All we had to do was beat the Browns last week, and then we were in. We could have got some rest. But no, typical Steeler fashion. We got to keep everybody on edge, including myself, and that is exactly where we're at tonight as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We have to play the perfect game in order to beat these Ravens. And of course, I cannot end the discussion about the Ravens Steelers rivalry without talking about Derrick Henry and the game that he's coming off of last week. Over 200 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, I think. He's playing incredible. As the season goes on, a guy that big running the ball wears everyone down. Now, in the first contest that we played against the Ravens this year in Baltimore, we handled him pretty well defensively. Our defense has to be spot on. TJ Watt's got to get back to doing what TJ Watt does. Herbig has to play well. Highsmith has to play well. Our corners have to play well. Ramsey, Porter, all those guys, they have to ball out. And they have to put pressure on Lamar Jackson. We got to keep him in the pocket somehow. He's a threat to run at any second, and nobody does it better than Lamar. He's coming off of an injury as well. So we'll see if we can contain him. If we can contain him and we can get this offense rolling, I think we might be able to pull this off at home. This is the last game of Week 18. Kind of seems like it was set up, right? Last game of Week 18, Sunday Night Football, 8:20 start in the city of Pittsburgh. Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think it gets any better than that. Winner wins the AFC North, the AFC North champions, and a trip to the playoffs. The loser goes home. So we will see what happens, man. This is going to be very interesting. Whether you cheer for the Ravens or cheer for the Steelers, this is why they play the game. All right, moving on. So it is day 16 right now of the journey to a conviction of Kevin Sealinger. After 169 days, we had been waiting and waiting and waiting for them to make an arrest and to file charges in the murder death of Marcello Woodard. And again, just to recap, this is the first time that a parole agent has shot and killed his parolee in the state of Pennsylvania, and the second time that this has occurred in the country. The Sanchez case in Fresno, California, was decided on late November. That was decided as a justified shooting. That particular case, that investigation was totally different than this one here. Um, there was an altercation between the parole agent and the parolee, even though the parolee was found unarmed. Um, there was a justified shooting decision rendered by the DA out in Fresno, California. We in Erie, Pennsylvania, the Erie community, we all were hoping that that was not going to be the case in our situation with my little cousin Cello. Um, just There's just a whole bunch of different angles that Deontay and I talked about for months about this case and about what had occurred and how it went down. 16 seconds after Kevin Seelinger gets out of the car and approaches Marcello's driver's side window, shots rang out. Um, the one key thing that I wanted to note, that in the affidavit of probable cause that we saw, not one time in the affidavit of probable cause did it state that the parole agent was being dragged by the vehicle. Not 1 second did it state that the parole agent, Kevin Seelinger, was being dragged by the vehicle. Now, of course, that was their position as far as the state, their statement initially stating that that's what was said. Um, we don't know for a fact whether or not that's what occurred. However, the video that we do have, that we've obtained, um, does not show very, very clearly and specifically, but the audio is perfect. And whenever someone's being dragged by a vehicle, you're going to hear some yelling, especially he had a partner there, Aaron Osborne. You're going to hear some yelling. You're going to hear all types of stuff if someone's being dragged. And you don't hear that. You don't hear that at all. Um, you hear the 3 shots, and um, you know you can see the car drifting down the street from that point on. I just firmly believe that the DA, after this long investigation, had enough evidence and statements from witnesses to file the charges that were filed, which include criminal homicide, aggravated assault. One of the main ones that Deontay and I keep talking about is that harassment charge as well. It's very tough to think about how you can harass your parolee if you're a parole agent and they are the property of the state. There's conflicting dates that we found in the right to know report that show that Cello was supposed to be off parole on January 18th. It's 4 different documents. They have not provided, and they don't have to us, but we have not seen a document stating that he was supposed to be off on July 18th. So, and I'm speculating right here. I'm not an attorney. I'm speculating. But if you put 2 and 2 together, you could possibly believe that if there are no documents that show that he was supposed to be off parole on July 18th, maybe that has to do with the harassment charge. I don't know. Only time is going to tell. And I tell you what, the preliminary hearing was supposed to be scheduled for this past Friday, which would have been on the 14th day from the arrest of Kevin Seelinger. And of course, most of the preliminary hearings are always postponed. Usually they don't have enough time to put together all the evidence and presenting and all the witnesses and things of that nature. So the majority of the time, those preliminary hearings are postponed. Now, I did find out that if you are in jail, you have to have a preliminary hearing scheduled within 14 days in the state of Pennsylvania. If you are out on bail, it's between 14 and 21 days. And since Kevin Seelinger's bail was denied, um, they had to schedule this for 14 days, and that is why this past Friday it was on the docket, but it was continued. And the next date and time is January 21st at 1 p.m. If anything changes from that point, we will let you know, but that is when the preliminary hearing will be held at the Erie County Courthouse, January 21st at 1 p.m. Um, we do have a couple of different um, meetings coming up. We got the Erie City Council meeting coming up. That is going to be this Wednesday, January 7th at 9 a.m. Remember that Wednesday one is always at 9 a.m. I know Deontay is going to be there. Please make sure that we continue to attend these meetings. The focus has shifted a little bit. We have finished phase one. We have passed the investigation stage. We won. We got charges. We got an arrest. He is in jail. There's no bail. That is a victory. That is a win. But that's not all that we are out to get. There's a lot more work that we have to do, 814. There's a lot more work that we have to do. So we need everyone to be present. Those that can be there, please be there. January 7th, this Wednesday at 9 a.m. is the Erie City Council meeting, and it should be a good one. What should our focus be? Our focus now should be on two things: change and transparency. Change and transparency. That is what is going to give justice for Cello, because we're not done yet. An arrest is not making us satisfied, because he still has to go through the trial. He still has to go through the hearing, and we still have to hopefully get a conviction out of this so that he spends the appropriate time in prison for what he has done, right? But what comes after that? Justice for Cello also means change. How can we prevent this from happening again? What kinds of different laws can we help change? What kinds of different partnerships and organizations between the community and law enforcement can we put together to enhance our relationship so that people are comfortable, right? I wanted to talk about this as well. The Erie County Council meeting is January 13th at 6 p.m. So we got the City Council meeting on January 7th at 9 a.m. and the Erie County Council is January 13th at 6 p.m. And I believe there is some people taking some oaths tomorrow. Tomorrow down at the City Council, I believe. A bunch of people, elected officials that were voted in, will be sworn in tomorrow. So it's going to be a big day tomorrow as well in Erie, Pennsylvania, with a lot of the elected officials, the people that you guys voted for, the ladies that you all voted for. They will be sworn in tomorrow. So please make sure that you continue to attend the Erie City and the Erie County Council meetings. It is imperative that we continue to put pressure on the city and the county and show them what Erie is all about and what we stand for, okay? Because change is something that has to occur. We have to make sure that something like this does not happen again. We have to bring up all types of different suggestions in order to make this work. The little suggestions as far as conversations that we have, I think out loud all the time. And this is a platform where Deontay and I think out loud a lot and bring up different things. Whether they're right or wrong, it's good for discussion. One of the things of change that I was thinking of earlier today, I don't know if it makes sense or not, but Do POs necessarily have to be armed? Are all POs in all states certified to bear arms? Um, they are not police officers. They are different. They're parole agents. They're supposed to be that person that um, holds the parolee accountable for what it is that they do. They're that person to keep that person in line, but also to encourage that person. They need to get a job, right? The parolee has to get a job. They have to maintain that job. They have to stay clean while they're doing this stuff. Um, they have to report to the parole agent when they need to when they need to report. Um, there are compliance checks that are done, but that person is somebody that's supposed to be there for you to encourage you and to make sure that you're not slipping, to make sure that you have all the help that you need that's provided by the state. Um, do they need to have a gun? I'm pretty sure that there may be some situations where having a firearm may be important. Um, Tina Hyota says, no, they are not all certified to carry guns in all states. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Is that something that needs to be changed in the state of Pennsylvania? Um, is that something that needs to be changed in the state of California? Um, if you think about it, there has only been two murders, two shootings where a parole agent shot and killed the parolee. Only two in the country. So those are very, very low odds, very low numbers based off of the amount of parole agents and the amount of parolees across the country. So if that's the case, does it make sense to change that law if that law is put in effect in your state? In your state, if you are allowed to carry a firearm as a parole agent, should that law be changed because the odds of um, what could possibly occur are so low? I don't know. I don't know what the correct answer is. I know we've talked about body cams. If you have a gun, you should have a body cam. They should go hand in hand. I don't know why it's taking so long for police officers to get body cams. Um, you know, uh, Another thing. I mean, Cello's investigation showed a little different situation here. I mean, do you do compliance checks while someone's sitting in the car? I mean, I guess you could. It's your job to make sure that they're good wherever they are. But it just sounds kind of strange. They don't have the authority to pull anyone over. They don't have certain authority. They're not police officers. Um, Bridget says they should have to go through the same trainings as county probation. State parole definitely do not. Um, Cindy says, I wonder who keeps record of their permits to carry professionally. That is a good question. That is a good question. It's not the Department of Corrections. Um, Deontay's chiming in now. He said, we also need to be encouraging our peers to apply for these jobs instead of trying to be outside enforcers. I agree with that 100%. You know, Deontay and I talked about this before. He's on the group in Erie with the police that's trying um, to bring the police, the law enforcement, and the community together, and there needs to be more of that. But the one thing that he and I were talking about was we as the community. I know. Trust me, I get it. I know we have a long way to go to be comfortable with trusting all law enforcement. Um, as a black man, I can tell you that I have been pulled over a number of times, and there is a feeling that goes through your body that everyone doesn't experience. Now, most people are scared when they're pulled over by the police anyway because they're the police, right? It's just not a comfortable situation. But when you're black and you see nothing but bad things occur in these situations, it is very tough to not think that way when you're in that situation. So there's a feeling that goes through your mind. I can talk about this as a African American father. Um, I have two adult African American sons. They're biracial, which means they're African American. It's how they're viewed. Um, Dante will be 26 on February 11th. Jordan is 24 right now. Dante lives in California. Jordan lives in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I had to have, years ago, the talk. And when I say the talk, black parents understand what I'm talking about. Everybody doesn't have to have the talk with their kids. Um, but I had to have the talk with my boys so that they would come home alive. Um, you know, it's unfortunate that some of us have to have that conversation to teach them what to do, what's right, don't do this, keep your hands on the steering wheel, make sure that they can see your hands in plain sight. If it's nighttime when you're pulling over, turn the dome light on so they can see in the car clearly. Like, these conversations um, are very important for us to have with our kids to keep our kids alive. And sometimes it's a shame that some people have to have these conversations and others don't. I was talking with a couple friends of mine that never had to have that conversation with their kids, and they're white. You know, so how can we change the narrative where a lot of our youth, they don't want to become police officers? That's not one of their goals. That's not something that's a glorified position for them. Where years ago it used to be, like, that was a stand up position to have and to hold when you were in the community. Um, it was something that people looked forward to. Um, Police officers. It was a respected profession. And I think because of years and years and years of um, these incidents that happen and the lack of accountability given when these things happen, um, we as a community have become scared. And so no, we don't want our kids to be in that profession. We have to get away from that, and we have to change our way of thinking. Of course, in order for us to do that, there's got to be some change on the other side. There's got to be some change on the other side. They got to meet us halfway. There's a lot of police officers, law enforcement, um, parole agents that I know that are great people and do their job very, very well. Um, Now, of course, there are a few bad apples in a bunch that ruin it for a lot of people, and that is what we have to try to avoid: is letting those bad apples and the incidents and the stories that occur push African Americans away from wanting to be involved in that profession. And in order to do that, there's got to be some change. It's got to be some change that that happens. And that organization that Deontay was involved in is involved in is called PALS. I see he's typing that in the comments as well. We have to have change. We have to have transparency. And Cindy Triber was on Erie News Now speaking justice to transparency concerning the the cello case and every other case. The state has to have transparency. When we don't know certain things as a community, there's a problem. When someone is given preferential treatment over others, that's a problem. When we notice these things that are occurring right in front of us, that's a problem. There has to be transparency in order for everyone to feel safe. Um, you know, I really loved her interview talking about transparency. Transparency is something that we can cement on our list that we have to continue to push for each and every year at each and every city council meeting, county council meeting, in every department with the state. Transparency is key, and she hit it on the head. And I'm very proud of her for her interview last week on that. Change and transparency. Those are the things that we need to continue to concentrate on. Um, uh, you know, this is going to be a long process here. Through this process, I want everyone to think about the family that is involved. Uh, I have been very open about um, my big cousin Charles. Um, he kind of is in the background a bit, and I've tried to make sure that people don't forget about Charles, who lost two sons in 2025, my cousin Chuck and my cousin Cello. Um, and he also lost a nephew in my cousin Dewan. Um, so it's been a hell of a year for the Woodard family. Um, I do not want to forget the rest of the immediate family: Micaiah, Malachi, Deuce, uh, Miss Bradley, uh, Snowy, Major, Shateria. Um, they're still hurting and they're still grieving. And we have to make sure that every time we speak about justice and justice for Cello, that there's still open wounds out there. And we want to make sure that they know that we have their back, that everything that comes out of our mouths comes out. It's from love, it's from the heart. It's very tough to heal when, um, you know, the the wound is broken open again every day, and that's constant, and that's how they feel. And I'm assuming that that's how they feel because I'm not them. Um, I just know how I feel. It was my family member. I was not as close to him as them, of course, but it hurts. It still hurts when you have a loved one that has passed away and should be here. So please pray for them. 2026 has to continue to be a strong year, a year of unity with the 814. We have a lot of great people that support what we all are doing. We have a lot of great people that want justice served. Um, we have a lot of great people that demand that Kevin Salinger um, pays for what he has done. And we pray that they get this right. We pray that they get this right. Years ago, my wife and I took my oldest son, Dante, with us to Sanford on the last day of the trial for George Zimmerman. Sanford's just on the other side of Orlando. It's about an hour and 15 minutes away. We woke up in the morning. We're like, look, let's go out there. We went out there, and it was a long day. We're standing out, and there's a divide outside of the courthouse. And they had the bike rails out there. You had one side, and all the African Americans over there. The other side, all the white people over there. You had a few white people over with the black people. You had no black people over with the white people. That's typically how things go. And we're standing out there, and all the news stations are out there. CNN, Fox. I saw Geraldo Rivera. There were a lot of different reporters out there. Ben Crump was out there. I saw him out there. Just a number of people going back and forth. We ended up taking a break, and we decided to backtrack in Trayvon Martin's steps. And we went over we saw the apartment complex. It was kind of barricaded a little bit. You couldn't go in. But we saw the apartment complex that his dad lived in. And we went around the corner, and we found the 7-Eleven that he went to purchase the Arizona iced tea and the Skittles. And we pulled up into the parking lot, and my son wanted to go in and purchase Arizona iced tea and Skittles. And I said, yeah, do you want to go in by yourself? And he said, yes, Dad. And Dante was about, I think he was 13 at the time, something like that. He was young. And I didn't even notice this at the time, but he gets out the car, and he has a hoodie on. And he put his hoodie on, and he goes inside. And I still specifically remember during the investigation in the trial, and they showed the surveillance video, they showed Trayvon going in, getting the Arizona iced tea, walking up the right-hand side, opening the cooler, getting the Arizona iced tea out, walking around this way, coming over, getting the Skittles, paying for his food and drink, and then walking out. And Dante saw the same thing and did the exact same thing. And he came back out, and he got in the car, and it was kind of powerful. And so, it was just surreal for us to think that, wow, this is what this young man did. And 15 minutes later, he lost his life by someone that was not doing what they were supposed to be doing. And we drove back to the courthouse. We parked. We went over on the side of Trayvon Martin supporters, and we're standing there. And about an hour later, the verdict comes down that he was not guilty. George Zimmerman, not guilty. And everybody's going crazy. Everyone's going crazy. Dante and I were dumbfounded that this happened. And we're looking around at a lot of racist people saying a lot of bad things out loud. because he was found not guilty. And he's standing in front of me, and we got the bike rail in front of him, and his arms are over the bike rail, and my hands are on the bike rail around him. And he had the Arizona iced tea and the Skittles in his hand, and he still had his hoodie on. And tomorrow I'm going to share the picture that someone took of us. We ended up on CNN and national news from just the picture, and we got interviewed and everything. But the look on our face was of sorrow. And this guy went through a lot of issues after this trial. We're in this position right now where we are fighting for justice, continue. And this is the journey to the conviction of Kevin Seeliger. And there's a chance that a jury of his peers could set him free, just like George Zimmerman. And we have to be prepared for that day. We need to keep the faith that things are going to work out. Faith is belief without proof. And until they lay down the proof, we have to keep the faith. And that's what I choose to believe. And I hope when they say, let the system work for you, I hope it works for us, because this was wrong. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I want closure to come to my family. I want closure. I want change to happen, and I want continued transparency. And these things need to happen. Okay. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I ran solo with Deontay, a little busy, but he and I are going to be back together sometime this week, and we'll bring you some more updates, and we'll discuss some different ways that we can push change. The journey to the conviction of Kevin Seeliger continues. Tomorrow is day 17. Let's not forget that. We have a new countdown, a new count up, if you will, and I've been keeping track on it. Day 169, he was arrested. That was also day number 1, and I've been rolling with that ever since. Today's day 16, and we're going to be back with you guys sometime this week, and we'll have a beautiful show for you in episode 58. So for Deontay Cooley, I am Craig Woodard. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really, really appreciate everyone tuning in. You could have been doing something else, but you're here. Check us out on the YouTube channel, Etcetera with the Woodards. You can share, subscribe, like, do all those great things, man. We really appreciate it. I love the fact that you all have been tuning in, and I'm going to continue to try to bring you the best content and the best shows along with Deontay Cooley. So for Deontay Cooley, I'm Craig Woodard Sr. Good night. We'll talk to you guys soon.